So you've decided to go hiking here in Hawaii, whether it's on your own, self-guided, or with a hiking company, but you're not sure what to pack, then this video is for you. For more Hawaii videos, make sure you're subscribed and click that notification bell so you're alerted every time we post a new video. Aloha, I'm Miriam and this is Yes to Hawaii. We make Hawaii videos, take the guesswork out of planning your trip. I've gone on tons of hikes around the islands, and this is a list of some of my favorite things to bring hiking. As always, I'll leave timestamps in the description box below, so feel free to skip around the video for the parts that you came here for. I originally started this channel to document hikes that I did during quarantine of 2020, when most of the things in Hawaii were closed. And since then, this channel has grown to include other Hawaii content, restaurants, activities, and so much more. But this is our 50th full-length video here on this channel, so I thought it was fitting to make it hiking related. I'll also leave links in the description box for every single item that I'm mentioning here in this video. And if you're watching this and you see something that's not on this list and you found useful on a hike, comment down below. And now onto the video. So first off, I'll separate this into two different sections. The first section is what I'll typically leave in the car while I'm hiking, and the second section is what I'll actually bring with me on the hike itself. So as for the car, there's 4 things that I almost always leave in the car before a hike. Number 1 is going to be slippers or flip-flops. After I finish a very long hike, typically your feet are going to be a bit more swollen. It's so much more comfortable to be able to take those shoes off and put on some slippers or flip-flops and make it super easy and comfortable for you. Plus, if you've been doing more hiking and it rained while you were hiking or you had to cross a few streams, your shoes are probably going to be really wet, so taking them off and putting on slippers or sandals or flip-flops can reduce blisters. Second, I'll typically have a Hydroflask full of ice cold water. Depending on the hike, sometimes I'll drink all the water on the hike itself, so when I get back to the car, I have none left. However, now I always put 1 full Hydroflask of water in the car, ice cold, so it's ready and waiting for me. Third, I'll always leave some high energy snacks in the car as well, such as apples or bananas. If I know I'm going to be hiking in the hottest part of the day, I'll typically put these snacks inside of a lunchbox to keep them nice and cool. And lastly, depending on the hike, I'll also leave a bottle of Powerade, Gatorade, or some other sports drink. I typically try to stay away from sports drinks like that because of the sugar content, but sometimes after a super long hike all day, it's nice to come back knowing that you've got a nice, good, icy cold sports drink to come back to. Next, as for the hike itself. And now for the most important thing I bring with me on the hike, the hiking backpack. This is the hiking backpack that I use on most hikes. It costs about $30 or so off of Amazon. It's Unigear brand. And what I like about this hike is that when I was researching a lot of different hiking backpacks, a lot of them were in the more higher price range, upwards of $100, $200. This one is super affordable at about $30 or so. And what I like about this backpack is a few different things. First off, it's super light. And as you can see here, there's ridges. So that way when you're sweating on the hike, it allows for some air circulation. There's a lot of really good things. Another good thing about this backpack specifically is on the inside, it's insulated as well. And then it also comes a 2-liter water reservoir, which clips here. But I like this insulated portion. It keeps the water ice cold for you. There's also a lot of different pockets. There's a pocket up here. There's a pocket in the front. And then there's this pocket as well. And then all these pockets you can clip like this, and then you can tighten this up. That way the backpack isn't as huge, it's smaller, and that way it can fit closer to your back. Another thing I like about this specifically is that the water reservoir, it's part of a hose system and it clips right here onto the backpack itself. And there's also these chest straps, which you can clip onto like this. What I like about this backpack specifically, especially for the ladies, is that this is adjustable. The strap is adjustable, so that way you can adjust it to fit over your chest, making it super comfortable. And my most favorite part about this backpack is this. It's a built-in whistle right on the backpack strap itself. I hope you never have to use it, but just in case you do, it's really good that this is on the backpack itself. Super easy, super convenient. Again, hope you never have to use it. Another really good thing about this backpack are these side pouches. There's 2 side pouches on the backpack itself, and this is where you would put smaller things that you want easy access to, such as your cell phone, lip balm. This backpack also, in addition to the chest strap, also has these waist straps as well, so you can clip them on, making it super comfortable for you to carry this specific backpack. And the most important is water. So I typically will carry the water in this 2-liter reservoir. This right here fits inside. There's a clip just here, and this clip is what you would attach the water to, like this, so it looks like that. Now, what I really like about this over carrying a Hydroflask or something else like that is that it's super light. So this specific one, as you can see once I unclip it, the reservoir is really thin, super lightweight, and when you carry one of these full of water, it can get quite heavy. Typically I'll carry this, and I have an extra one. It's a 50-ounce water reservoir that I'll typically use, and it's always best to carry a couple of these. You can carry this one in your main backpack and then have a secondary one. What I really like about using water reservoirs is that if you end up bringing too much water, it's super easy to just dump the water out, whereas if you're carrying a Hydroflask or some sort of bottle or container, depending on the material of that bottle, it can be heavy after a while. Another reason why I recommend carrying 2 water reservoirs instead of the normal one is because you never know what can happen on the hike itself. For example, not too long ago, I did a hike with some friends. We left at around 8 or 9 in the morning to get over to the east side of the island. However, there was a car wreck on the way over there, and unfortunately it took us another 2 hours to get there as we were stuck in traffic. So because of that, that pushed the time we started the hike to later on in the day, the hottest time of the day, so I ended up drinking up most of my water in the beginning of the hike and running out. Another reason why I recommend using the water reservoirs with the hose system attached to your backpack is because of something that happened to me. So previously, many years ago, I used to only carry water bottles when I went on hikes. So one time, a long time ago, I was hiking on this ridgeline and I had a couple water bottles in my backpack. I didn't want to be farther back from the group, so I didn't stop on the ridgeline to take the bottle out of my backpack to drink the water. I just flipped my backpack around in front of me and I was fumbling through my bag to get out the bottle of water. A gust of wind hit, I lost my footing, and it was already slippery on the ridgeline, and I almost fell off of the ridgeline. Luckily, I did have one friend who was behind me, and he grabbed me by the hood from my jacket, and had he not done that, I probably would have fallen off of that cliff. So for that exact reason, I highly recommend that you keep your hands free, have access to the water, such as through a reservoir system with a hose, as opposed to having it in a bottle. However, if you do want to use bottled water, completely fine, but if you do and you're on a ridgeline, definitely stop to drink the water. Don't make my rookie mistake of trying to grab the bottle out of my backpack while I was still walking on the hike. The next section of things that I usually bring involve sun protection. First off, I'll definitely bring sunglasses. I like using polarized sunglasses. Second, I always wear 50 SPF sunscreen. And for the hike itself, I'll also bring a small refillable container of sunscreen. So this is the one I use. It's about 2 ounces and it's refillable, as opposed to buying the travel size sunscreen and having to keep purchasing it, and it's very wasteful. Instead, I just bought one of these at Target. It was $1 and it opens up just like that, and I can put sunscreen in it and refill it every time I run out. I always bring some sunscreen on a hike with me because you never know how much you're gonna be sweating, and it's always a good idea to reapply, especially in the heat. And usually for my face, I'll bring one of these mineral zinc sticks just like this. This one is transparent, so you can put it on and it's not gonna show this big white pasty zinc mess. I usually wear this on my nose and then all along my face here. And also, just as a tip, if you're new to hiking in Hawaii or a beginner hiker, and you're wearing a hat, don't put sunscreen on your forehead, because if you do and you sweat, it's gonna run down into your face and it'll burn. And of course, I always bring lip balm that has an SPF. Next, make sure you bring a hat. And one thing I would recommend in addition to the regular hat that you'd bring is to purchase a hat clip. This is especially useful if you're going on a ridgeline or hike that is super windy. The hat clip is exactly what it sounds. It clips onto the back of your shirt, and then the other side clips onto your hat. That way, if it's windy, you won't lose your hat. And lastly, I'll also typically bring a sweatband or a headband, just in case I have a hat on for most of the day, I'm super sweaty and I want to take it off. I don't have this hat head, and it also prevents me from getting sweat in my eye. If you've made it this far, what are some of your favorite hikes here on Oahu? Comment down below. Next category, clothing. For almost all hikes that I go on, I'll typically wear full pants leggings. And the reason for this is because the hikes that I typically will go on have a lot of shrubbery in the area. If you're wearing shorts, that'll scratch up your legs and it's not quite as comfortable. Also, if you're going to be in the sun all day, having the leggings, although it's a little bit hotter, it prevents you from getting a bad sunburn on your legs or from getting a very aggressive shorts tan. For shoes, I'll typically wear regular sneakers or running shoes. Add on to that are these. These are hiking spikes and they fit in this bag just here. The hiking spikes look just like this. So these are elastic and these will fit right onto your shoe itself, and then it gives you a little bit of extra traction with these spikes. However, what I like about these are able to fit onto your regular tennis shoes or running shoes or runners, which makes it super easy and convenient. If you're on a section of the hike where you might need a bit more traction, you can put them on, and if you don't, you can take them right off. They come with this zipper pouch like this. Easy to fit into your bag. If it is a longer hike, I'll definitely pack an extra pair of socks just in case my feet are sweating or if I happen to cross through some streams and my shoes get wet. It is nice to have a fresh pair of socks. The next thing I'll bring is blister blocker. So for the most part, I don't really get blisters anymore when it comes to hiking, but sometimes it happens. So this blister stick looks just like this, like that. And then if during the hike you're starting to feel a blister about to form, you can put this on the blister itself or where the blister will be, and then this forms an invisible barrier between your skin and whatever is causing the irritation. And lastly, as for clothing, depending on the hike, I'll typically also bring a pair of hiking gloves. The hiking gloves typically give me a little bit more grip and usually have the fingertips cut off. I'll use gloves if I'm doing a hike such as Three Peaks, where I know that there's going to be some ropes or some rock climbing. If I want a little bit of extra grip but I don't want to risk my hands, I'll bring an extra pair of gloves. And now on to the next category, tech gear. So when I'm hiking, I usually pack pretty light in terms of tech. Most of the footage I get when I'm hiking comes from either my iPhone or from my GoPro. I also use the All Trails app on my iPhone, and I usually keep it running the entire hike. So for that reason, I recommend that you also bring an external battery pack and cord for your phone. This way, when the app is running, as well as taking lots of photos, lots of video, I don't have to worry about my phone battery dying and then getting lost on the trail. Next, I always bring my GoPro and then a handler. For my GoPro, I'll also have a carabiner that clips right onto it. And this carabiner clips right onto my backpack, so my GoPro is always readily accessible when I'm ready to film. Next, I'll also bring a few batteries. So I'll either bring extra GoPro batteries, extra SD cards. Of course, this all depends on the hike, whether it's a short hike or a much longer hike. I'll also bring a waterproof pouch to put all of this tech gear in. Now, as I mentioned, the backpack that I mentioned at the very beginning of the video, it isn't waterproof. So all of my tech gear, my batteries, SD cards, cell phone, anything that I don't want to get wet, I'll also put in a waterproof pouch. Next, I'll also bring a small portable tripod. These are also really small, and it's what I use to clip my phone onto to set up specific hiking shots. I'll also bring a waterproof headlamp. Now, at first, you may think that you might not need a headlamp, especially if you're going to be hiking in the daytime, but sometimes hikes last a lot longer than you think. I went on a hike with some friends and we got to the summit. We were hanging out, chit-chatting, talking, and then next thing you know, it's around 5 o'clock in the evening. As we started the hike, it got dark really fast. So near the end of the hike, it was already getting dark. Luckily, we had our cell phones and we used that for lighting. However, when you're going down a specific trail and you've got your cell phone in one hand, you're trying to balance, you don't want to drop your phone, all that could have been avoided if we had a waterproof headlamp. That way, if it rained or anything, the headlamp would be completely fine to be out in the elements. Headlamps typically also have different shades of light, so some of them will have white light, just like your cell phone light. Some of them will have red light, that way it doesn't damage your night vision. I'll also typically carry 1 or 2 alcohol cleaning wipes to take care of any of the lenses for whatever camera, cell phone, or whatever I happen to bring. That way the shot is always crisp and clear. Next category, as for the essentials. Beyond the usual water, of course, I always bring snacks. So whether that's beef jerky, trail mix, fruit, any sort of high energy snack I'll also bring with me. Depending on the hike, I'll also oftentimes bring a full sandwich, a nice hearty portion, because sometimes when you're hiking for 3 or so hours at a time, you get to the point where you can take a break. Sometimes you're really hungry and the beef jerky and trail mix just doesn't cut it. When you have a huge sandwich waiting for you in your backpack when you're ready to take a break, it can give you the energy you need to finish the hike. I'll also bring a small med pack. So that'll have just the basics, some Advil, some Pepto. Typically there's also a little bit of a powder solution just in case there's any cut. I'll also include some Band-Aid. I'll also make sure to pack some toilet paper and a Ziploc just in case nature calls while you're on the trail. And depending on the hike, I'll also pack a small container of bug spray. Depending on the hike, I'll also bring a small bit of rope. I'll also bring a small bottle of hand sanitizer or some wet wipes. The reason I typically bring wet wipes is sometimes when you're on some of the hikes and you're scaling up rock faces, your hands get really dirty, and by the time you sit down and take a break to eat your food, you want something to clean your hands, but maybe you don't want to waste the water that you've got on you. Instead, have some wet wipes, some hand sanitizer, that way when you're ready to eat, everything is clean. And the last part is before the hike prep. I'll also take a small index card or post-it note. I'll jot down a few phone numbers. That way, if my phone dies for whatever reason while I'm on the trail and I need to use someone's phone, at least that way I have a few numbers ready access if I need to call someone. On the rare occasion that I'm hiking solo, I'll also text a few people to let them know exactly where I'm hiking and when I should be getting back. I'll also share my location with at least one friend. That way, if anything happens, someone knows exactly where I am. I'll also make sure the trail that I'm going on is downloaded to my phone. So I use the app All Trails, and they have a free edition. You can also upgrade to a pro edition. That way some of the trail maps are available offline. And lastly, everything that I mentioned throughout this entire video, I actually have on a checklist, and I leave it with my hiking backpack. That way, right before I go for a hike, I can go through the checklist and make sure I have everything that I need, and I don't have to think twice about it. If you like this video on what to pack on a day hike, you'll like our other packing videos. What to pack on a snorkel cruise, what to pack on an island tour, what to pack to visit Hawaii, carry on only. And I'll leave a link in the description box below to those videos and some other related videos. I hope you guys liked this video and found it helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And if there's any other Hawaii videos you'd like to see, definitely leave them in the comments down below.